Welcome to the Girl Dad Show.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Girl Dad Show. I am so super excited to have Dave on the show today. Dave, welcome.
It's good to be here, Young. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, I'm excited we can make this work after we just met I think it was a few months ago, right?
Yeah, I think September we hung out. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it was a great hangout though. I remembered you. Very memorable man.
Likewise.
Yeah, let's jump into it. Why don't you introduce yourself to the listeners?
Sure. I'm Dave Hansen. I'm a girl dad, actually dad of 4 kids, twins, and a cancer survivor. We'll talk about that, I'm sure. But I'm the CEO of a company called ClientTether. We operate in the franchising and multi-unit space, the number one franchise specific CRM in the industry still, according to Entrepreneur Magazine. But we provide the franchise brands that are working on FranDev. We have hundreds of them that work in the platform. We have many that work on our platform to help their franchise owners in service industries like home service, pet elderly care, B2B services like janitorial, and they give their a systematic approach for their owners to scale sales and improve revenue and data optics and support visibility to the home office. They can coach their franchise owners, and been doing it for 11 years. I've been running the company for 7, and we love the space, and we're excited about the growth we've had.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you're the CEO and you've been there for 7 years, but the company's been around for 11. Can you share a little bit about that journey of how you got into this business?
Yeah, it actually started with a boy dad moment. But
Oh, yeah.
So I've been running tech companies and sales teams for a long time, and a buddy of mine at a young men's camp out up in the mountains, we were making sure they didn't burn down the forest and talking about business. And turns out he's a serial franchisor. So I asked him how the painting franchise was going. And then he said, and I've got this tech company. And I was like, what? I just started laughing at him. I was like, what do you do with a tech company? He's like, I don't know, but it's going pretty well. And I was like, okay, what do you do? And, at that time, lots of people had a tech company. But he was like, no, it's a CRM and a sales automation tool, and it does all these things. And I was like, and I actually said, after he described what it does, like, no, you don't. Because I was a Salesforce admin running a team. We had every plugin and bell and whistle. And I was like, nobody can do that. I've been researching this for years, man. He's like, he just looked at me like, are you crazy? And he said, I'll show you on Monday. So he showed me on Monday. And at the time I was helping run a translation company, and we helped double the company in like 14 months since I got there. It was fun. But it started to not get fun. And all I'll say, Conrad asked me to help him run the company. He validated he could do it. He said he could do it. And he just didn't know no one else could do it at the time. With like automating, texting, calling, emailing.
Yeah.
Emailing, table stakes. With the texting, no one was doing back then. And the automated call, no one still does it except for us today, which is nuts. So long story short, after about a year of him asking, I did some pro bono consulting, and I just helped him because he's a buddy. And then he called me the day that I decided I was done working at the company I was helping to lead, and so I came over to ClientTether. That's the I guess the medium version of the story.
What a great story. I mean, it's one of my favorite things is when like these relationships kind of permeate between work and life. I mean, I think it's something that I used to fight a lot in my younger professional days, and then now that I'm like closer to 50 than I'm younger, and I now actually like love it. I love it when the people that I love end up working with me. Like, I don't know anything better in life than, working with people that I actually like outside of work. And it's so funny how things have switched around for me. But I'm not sure if you mimic the same sentiment or not, but that's a beautiful story for me.
Always the same. I feel like you should be the same person when you're in a Zoom meeting for business or at church or at the government office or like whatever the heck you do or coaching baseball. Every now and then my personality changes a little bit on the baseball field when I used to coach. But usually I argue with the ref about something or an ump about something, but anyway, no, but I'm the same. Like I think people are genuinely amazing, most people, and I want to get to know why they're amazing. I kind of lead life with that principle of like, this guy's amazing somehow. Let me figure it out. And in business, it's the same. And then you figure out why their business is amazing and where it's not, and then we figure out how to solve the places that aren't. So I try to lead that way, personally and professionally.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that's a really great story, and I love that journey into it. Can I ask about franchising, though? So you have a friend that was in franchising through a boy dad moment, but were you ever in franchising at all? Or is this a new foray?
Sure. Well, I mean, I've been in the industry about 5 years before my wife and I bought a couple of franchises. And so we ran those. She was the boss. She'll deny that, but it's true.
Yeah.
And because I was still running I still am running ClientTether. But yeah, we built that up really fast. And then we had somebody who wanted to buy us out because it was growing so quick. And he wanted to expand his territories with some that were like, blossoming. So we ended up selling that out in like 17 months, had an exit, which was really fast for a franchise.
Whoa, so you just from starting to selling in 17 months.
Yeah, it was a big blessing in our lives because we were also getting big enough to the point where like we got to start staffing differently and like
Yeah.
run this business. And it was right at that moment where I was also struggling to find the right person, just take that part over. And this guy's like, "Hey, I want to buy it." It was really perfect timing for us.
Yeah, that's amazing. What a blessing. And then before ClientTether, though, were you in franchising, or you said you were leading tech teams and stuff? Yeah, what's your
Yeah, no.
background
So
like?
I was ed tech. I've done consulting across about like 9, 10 industries now, but I've worked in
Yeah,
education technology, manufacturing, just like hardcore systems management, security tech.
yeah,
That's where I started, and then I took a small step. Started a couple businesses, like an e-com business, a tutoring business in college. My
cool.
business was actually a whistle business. When I was 5 years old, I started selling
Like a
whistles.
literal whistle that makes sounds.
Well, there's more to it than that. I thought it was a whistle. I'll just say that. But I was 5. So in my defense, I needed baseball cards. We didn't have much money growing up, and so I
Yeah.
was like, I'm going to make paper trinkets, and I found a bunch of whistles. So I waited for my mom to fall asleep during nap time, and then I went out and canvassed the
Nice.
neighborhood. And as it turns out, Young, these were not whistles. They were my mom's tampons that I'd unwrapped. And I thought, blow pop. I'm not kidding. All of her friends, every neighbor got to find this little boy at their door saying, "Hey, do you want to buy some whistles?" And it turned out they weren't whistles.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I bet you're like fondly remembered in that neighborhood for many,
I'm
many years to come.
Yeah, they're probably like, "This kid's gonna start some Ponzi scheme. That's not a whistle." Yeah, no, it was
That's
my
so
mother.
funny.
She's probably blushing right now because even when I
Yeah,
tell that story
yeah,
many years later, she's still like, "Oh my gosh!" Like she got the
yeah.
call from
That's so
Rosemary
funny.
Vandermaiden, who's like, "Hey, do you know what your son's doing right now?" She's like, "I think he's downstairs playing." She's like, "He's not downstairs playing
He's canvassing the neighborhood.
with your
He's
tampons."
hustling.
Yeah.
Did you well yeah, how did you grow up? I mean, did you grow up entrepreneurial? Where'd you get that spirit from?
Totally my dad. My dad. In fact, I was super hyperactive, kind of a little bit naughty when I was a kid. I just like get into stuff and play with stuff. And
Yeah.
so my dad, at the time when I was young, he was like a regional, like a district, a divisional director over like Circle K grocery stores. So on Saturdays, he needed to go and inspect stores. So he would just, I think my mom made him take me, but I would sit in the cab of the front of the car with my dad. We'd drive around for hours on Saturdays, and he'd get me a Charleston Chew and a whipped orange bang. If you remember, those are like old things that we don't have in convenience stores anymore. But that was my treat. And then but he didn't know what to talk to me about. Sometimes we just talked about business for like
Oh, wow.
4 or 5 hours a day. He started a couple of businesses. He actually ran some real successful businesses. So I just kind of grew up, I think, with the fire to go do stuff and like get
Yeah.
my own. And then I had a lot of intelligence just kind of poured into my brain from a dad who's really gifted that way.
That's awesome. And then you said you had 4 kids, right? I think
Yeah,
I
we've
heard you
got
say
four.
4. And then when did you have your first kid, and what part of the journey of your professional career did you start having kids?
And so we started early. Like I got married young. My wife and I were 22 when we got married.
Oh,
And
amazing.
yeah, and we were both still in college, and
Wow.
it wasn't the plan. And we thought we were taking appropriate measures to make it, make the plan work. But we were still, I think it was a junior in college when we found out we were pregnant with our oldest son, and so we were young parents too.
Very young.
But then after that, it turns out, sometimes there's a little bit more of a divine architecture in your life than you can see. And so he ended up, when he was about 3, just over 3, he got diagnosed with leukemia. But he had a little brother that also wasn't part of the plan. And we still don't know how he got here. But it turns out he needed him, right? Because he couldn't play with kids for like 3 years because he didn't have an immune system. So he needed a built-in buddy, and I think heaven knew that. And so Skylar's our oldest, Ethan, they're 21 and 20 now. And our babies are twins, boy, girl. So hence the girl dad, Sophie and Johnny. But now we're almost empty nesters, and we're still quite young. So it was fun being a young dad. It was hard, right? Like we were a little strapped. We're always scrappy, trying to save and make ends meet when we were real young, and been blessed career-wise to not have to worry about that as much as they've been in their middle years as kids. But, always around that, always home, and always made time to be a dad, which
That's
was
amazing.
really important.
Yeah, and I'm really sorry to hear about your oldest, but sounds like it was like a thing that was able to be solved for and moved on from.
Yeah, he's 21 now.
Yeah.
He was diagnosed almost 18 years ago. sometimes we wonder, we're like, is that the chemo or is that just you being a knucklehead? Like, at least he's got an excuse. I didn't have an excuse. No,
I love your
great,
sense of
great
humor about
kids.
these things. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess a little twisted. I've been told it's like joke around about things that other people find uncomfortable. But yeah, I guess you have to kind of change your perspective when things are tough,
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really telling attribute about how you handle problems, right? Like, there's really only two ways to like deal with it. It's like kind of fight or flight, and I think you have this mentality of fighting. Make light of it and make the best of it, and move on. It sounds like, which is not a bad thing to be. I think it's a really good characteristic. Do your kids know what you do for a living? Do they have like a grasp of like what you do?
Yeah, they're old enough now, and we've talked about it quite a while. But they're a long time when they're little. Like I don't know, people would ask them like, "What? I don't know what my dad does."
Yeah.
Like, he sells stuff. I think I don't know. Like,
So so you have talked to them. They understand what you do now. They understand what a CRM is.
There were times where my oldest was a little bit. He was unemployed, and I was like, "Look, I need some help. Why don't you do this research into the franchise industry and find a bunch of contacts out of this franchise book that just got sent to me in the mail?" And Sophie, she hears about all the fun things we do at events. Our youngest daughter, and she's like, "Can I come to the franchise events with you, Dad?" And I was like, "No." A lot of the after hours things are in bars, and you're 17, so that does not.
How did you hear about it? So you come back and kind of like divulge and share and kind of unpack?
Yeah, I do. We're fortunate that I get to drag my wife, Amy, with me quite a bit when we go out to things now. We couldn't do that a decade ago, but it's a lot easier now. So, so we'll come back and talk about it. We'll joke about things, or I'll tell stories about crazy stuff that happens, or just fun things, or cool business meetings, or I don't know. We talk about life with the kids. And so they're fairly familiar with what we do.
Yeah, was there a part in your life that was like the hardest when you were like navigating your career plus having kids? I mean, I can imagine that, being in college and trying to study, I mean, I'm assuming you didn't have an income, and having a kid was probably very, very precarious.
No, I worked about 40 hours a week when I was doing my undergrad, about 17 credit hours. So it was a grind. It was a grind, but I just didn't sleep a lot. I would just burn the candle on both ends. So about 4.5 hours of sleep is what I averaged for the first probably decade of our marriage. So, but no, and I don't say that to like flex. I just like we kind of had to. Like neither one of us come from families that could really support us at the time. So we just figured it out, man. That's what everyone else did before us. We just figured that out. That wasn't the hardest part though. Like early marriage, like it was tough being poor, but like you can learn how to live without a whole lot. And
totally.
We kind of grew up that way, so like it worked fine. But the hardest part was for sure, I was working for a company, great company. In fact, my son just applied to go work in their shipping department.
That's awesome.
And so I texted my old buddies that are still there, years later. But when we just moved back across the country to this great company, manufacturing business, and I was helping out with like channel development and sales. Skylar got diagnosed with cancer, and so we weren't making tons, but we're making enough. But then that made it not quite enough. And then, but they were super flexible with us. I love them still to this day. But then we found out about 6 months later we were pregnant with twins, and we were just like, "Are you serious right now?" I'm pretty sure there's something written in the New Testament about not giving something more than they can handle. Like, I'm pretty sure you crossed the line, but turns out he didn't. Like, it was hard though. Like, Skylar. I remember one time, like Sky, he got sick all the time. When you got leukemia, your immune system's suppressed for like 3 years, and you're 4. Like, we'd go to grocery stores with him. He'd have a mask on a lot before masks were a thing, but he'd like touch stuff and then put his hand in his mouth, and we're like, "No, like not at the grocery store, dude."
Yeah.
And so he was sick a lot, and one time he was home with an IV pump because he had tubes in his chest so we could give him IVs and stuff. And so we're giving him chemo and like antibiotics on a schedule with this pump throughout the night. Twins are up throughout the night. I think some nights we'd average like 2 hours of sleep, and Amy and I, like, we don't remember a lot. Like, I don't think our brain let us. It was kind of survival mode for a while, but they all survived,
Yeah. That's an amazing story, and I think that that's absolutely interesting the way that you say it. And I don't see it as a flex either. You talk about it very matter of factly. It's like you have to do what you have to do. Like I think that's an incredible way of looking at it. And I kind of I'm wrestling with how to respond to it because I'm kind of like going through the same thing right now, and I obviously started late, so I'm the opposite of you. So this story is very interesting for me. But I'm actually burning the candle on both ends now, which is kind of funny. Because like I want to see my kids, but I also want to build. I want to I'm like kind of going at it right now. And so I just sleep less. It's not a flex at all. It's literally not a flex. It's just that I want to do these things in this stage of my life. And the easiest thing, not the easiest, but the simplest thing to sacrifice is just sleep. And it doesn't like, I'm not like looking for a pat on the back, or I'm not looking for a punishment or a judgment either. I don't really care what you think about it. It's just what I want to do is the decision I made. And it's like kind of an interesting thing for me to hear you say that, when you were kind of coming up. That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, and still, to be honest, I mean, I still burn the candle on both ends, right? But
Yeah.
now, I've found a little more balance where I'm not running a side business as I work, 60 plus hours a week on my core business. And that's been kind of nice. But it's still like, here's the thing, like when you're a parent and a husband, right?
Yep.
And there's just like a certain time requirement if you want to like, I have a goal, like every day I want to have at least some conversation with every single one of my kids. I don't want that to ever change, even when they're all out of the house, and I also want to spend time with my wife and talk to her and see how things are going in her world. And I like to eat meals with them. When I'm up in the morning, I get to work from home. That's a blessing. We've been doing that for 11 years, and so we were way ahead of the COVID curve. But everybody in our team gets to work from home. But I get to eat breakfast with my daughter before she runs to school in the morning. And when I slip out to grab something, if I have time to eat lunch, which seems stupid if you work from home, but just it's busy, So I'll see my other boys sometimes when they're eating lunch if they're home. So I find that to be really important. But here's the thing. I've got buddies and they go to the gym for 3 hours every night. And I'm like, well, if I did that, I wouldn't have time for conversations with my kids. And I wouldn't be able to sit down and watch a show with my wife at night if that's what she wants to do. And I wouldn't eat dinner with my family. Like, I don't know. There's only 24 hours in a day. So we have to decide how we're going to use it. And I choose to still sleep about 6 now, like 6, maybe 7 if I'm crushing it. But I don't sleep as much, and I'm fine with that because that's when I get crap done. Kids go to bed, I'll still get up and work on something late and make sure it's done.
Yeah. I feel so validated listening to you talk. It's amazing. Yeah, because I feel like people shame me for it, and I'm like, I'm not expecting you to do it. I'm just telling you that's the decision that I made. Like, for example, this year it's definitely a midlife crisis, so bear with me. But I'm picking up boxing, and so I want to learn how to box. Yeah, and it's kind of scary. It's kind of dumb because I could hurt myself, and I'd love to compete in my age group, like the 45 plus, range. There's like a whole category where you can get a refereed match, and I think it'd be fun, right? I know it's me that's like fighting the fact that I'm getting older and slowing down, and I know it's a lot of those emotional things, and I still want to do it. But the thing is that the time wise, luckily my kids are younger, so they're in bed by 8, and so I just found a guy that'll give me private lessons, and he says, yeah, come at 8 o'clock and we'll do it at night, and I just sleep less. You know what I mean? And just go do this thing that I want to try to do and incorporate in my life, but doesn't impact, the foundational pillars that I want in my life right now as it relates to family and work. And so it's just the thing that you end up sacrificing. So I feel very validated hearing your story, and I love it. Let me switch gears a little bit. So what are your major goals now? Like, as you think about you being a dad, it sounds like you've gone through a lot of interesting journeys and learned a lot about yourself as a father and a husband. But what are the goals that you have in this next chapter?
Well, that's a great question. And it's been funny because the company's been growing, right? We've been blessed that way. We've got a good team. We're retooling stuff. Like I feel like you never stop working on the business. Once you get to here, then you've got to like rebuild, and then you go to there. It's like bamboos. The roots grow, and it shoots, and the roots grow, and it shoots. So growing the business is really important to me. But like about the family, like I want all my kids to have meaningful education and career opportunities. And that looks different for all of them. I've got one son slightly on the spectrum, super bright. He's really cool in so many ways, but like he's not gonna, he liked trade school because he's working on like pneumatics and so he's gonna do something with his hands. And that is absolutely 100% okay. I'm proud of him for doing that too. And frankly, there's so many opportunities in that space that have been neglected by our public sector education and the hype around AI and tech and all this crap that like, kids that are like, they're getting jammed into seats with computers and keyboards when really they should be like cranking wrenches and they'll be happier doing that. And we need that. There's a huge demand for it. So I've got one that's probably going to go that way, but I'm just trying to like help them navigate this like transition from like being a kid to being an adult. And because I just want them to be happy and do something that they feel is meaningful, help them develop meaningful relationships with people, eventually, find the right one, get married, start the next part of their journey. Really, we're working on launch mode right now with the kids. So that's been tough, honestly, because I have two adult kids,
Yeah.
and so you're trying to like, hey, like you've got the reins, like go get them. But okay, hold on for a second, let me help you out. It's kind of hard to balance that part. It's an awkward dance. I'll just say that for us right now. But that's a
You're
big
talking.
part.
You're talking about like being able to tell them when they were younger, and they would listen because they were younger, and then now they're like adults, so they're like starting to know. Is that what you're talking about right now? Is that what you're alluding to?
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
It was a lot easier when they were little because you just like, I know the right answer, just do the right thing. Like, here
Yeah.
you go, here's the answer, just go
Yeah.
go to bed. Why?
Yeah.
Because you're going to bed. You don't have to
Yeah.
ask me. I will say this, like helping kids understand why takes away a lot of that friction and
Yeah.
figure that out for a long time. Like
Yeah.
being young parents, we were kind of dumb. I feel
Yeah.
like sometimes we're still kind of dumb. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, helping them understand, like, hey, this is the reason why I'm telling you this. So
Yeah.
you can be mad if you want, like that's okay, that's your choice. But my choice is to help educate you so you don't do that again. And so we feel like that's important, teaching them every time.
Yeah.
we can.
Yeah, I definitely can see that in my future as well too. I'm noticing my oldest, my 8-year-old, is I'm not as cool as I used to be even a year ago. I think like a year ago I could say anything, and she was like, "Yeah, of course, amazing, yeah, Dad, let's do it, whatever," And now it's like, "Wait, why do I have to do that?" And I'm like, "What's going on here?" It's just like, so I can definitely see having to learn that skill in my near future here very soon.
But dude, it's a beautiful thing too. Like I tell people all the time when they're like, "You've got 4 kids, holy crap, you're not old."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Well, sure, whatever."
Yeah.
But I think it's cool. Like I got to coach my son's baseball team. So I started coaching him because the dads that were coaching really were bad. To be honest,
Yeah.
it was like all about their kid pitching and being a shortstop, and they didn't have the arm for either position. They weren't teaching the kids how to play the game, so the kids were not loving the game. And I was like, that's wrong because this is the best game ever. So anyway, long story short, I ended up creating a travel ball team.
Yeah.
Developed that into a pretty good program, and then I got recruited to help coach a high school team, and so I got the chance to be a high school coach to my son, which was amazing and a little awkward sometimes, but it was awesome. But like I felt like being involved was such a critical part of like his development, and also then I got to develop this like quasi dad relationship. When you're a coach, it's like there's dad and then there's coach.
Yeah.
And for some kids, it's like coach and then dad. And I just felt like that was a real honor. It's so fun to be involved in these other kids' lives. And now I feel like I've gone way off the topic that you brought up a second ago.
No, it's okay. I'm actually curious because the comment you made is very funny. The best game ever. Are you a huge baseball fan? Is that what's going on?
I love it.
Okay. Did you play growing up?
I did, yeah, since I was little.
That's awesome. And then did your dad coach you or no?
No, my dad's not like super athletic. I think we played catch twice,
Oh, wow.
maybe 3
Okay,
times.
okay.
He's a lefty, and he just didn't have a glove. So like sometimes I'd like throw the ball back, and I'd have to roll it, and then he'd throw it to me, and I'd catch it, and like I think it got awkward and boring for him sometimes. But I loved baseball. I would
So
play
you just
every
picked it
day.
up. Yeah. Got it. Cool. That's interesting. Yeah. And let me keep going down this rabbit hole a little bit more, and then we'll switch gears. But you were mentioning something about planning for being an empty nester. What have you and your wife? By the way, my wife's name is Amy as well, so it's kind of fun just to give you a heads up. She has a great name, just so you know. If both of our wives are listening, Amy, you guys have great names. Yeah, what do you guys have planned? Have you guys started sprinkling in ideas of what that looks like and started socializing some thoughts?
Yeah, well, because we started having kids young, we didn't have that era where we're like just us traveling around the world doing whatever.
Yeah.
So we've done plenty of adventures with our kids and with each other. But when we sold our franchises, there's a great tax write-off buying a heavy vehicles. We bought a truck and we bought a fifth wheel, and so we went traveling around with that with the kids, and
Oh, cool.
But we also got Starlink. And it's a toy hauler, so I can put our motorcycle in the back of it, or a side-by-side or something. And so we've already been developing the plan. We're going to start building routes where we'll be like, hey, we're going to go to the Pacific Northwest, and I can work very comfortably from this trailer during the day. And for my lunch, we'll go walk along the beach, and then I'll go back to the office. And then after 5 p.m. or whenever I'm done for the day, we'll go out and cook dinner outside or in the kitchen of this awesome trailer, or we'll go go on a hike. So that's kind of our plan, is probably 3-4 weeks at a time we'll disappear as we help the kids launch. We got the last two that are seniors, and then we'll let them do their thing, and we'll keep tabs and make sure they don't burn the house down. But we're gonna go just kind of explore and work from random places.
Awesome. I love it. And I just realized that you're calling their kids like kind of basically kind of going to turning into adults, or I don't know what stage you're considering it, but you're branding this phase as launch phase. You mentioned it earlier and I didn't catch it, but you said it again, and now I'm realizing that you guys have like made a name for it. You've like called it the launch stage. You're launching your kids. Is that true? Am I reading this correctly?
Right. I didn't coin this for sure, but I think I picked it up from a movie called Failure to Launch. It's hilarious. Have you ever seen that one with Matthew McConaughey? Have you seen that movie?
Yes, that's hilarious. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You are a marketing guy. I love it. That's awesome. Very fun. So that's a really good plan. I think it's awesome. And then if you do empty nest and you travel in your fifth wheel and you just kind of work remotely in your Starlink, and it's a good life. I can see that.
Oh yeah. Go see clients while we're on the road. Like, hey, let's go down to Texas and go see a bunch of clients while we're down there. There's a lot you can do. But also, like, I speak Spanish fluently, so I've been working on my wife for a long time. She's a platinum blonde, blue-eyed gal. She's like, I don't know if it's super safe down there. I'm like, we're gonna go to Latin America for sure.
Yeah.
So,
I literally just flew back from Mexico City this morning.
Oh, from DF? What were you doing down in Mexico City?
Just a work retreat. Yeah, but I was brushing up on my Spanish. It's totally safe. Tell her it's totally safe.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I mean, anywhere you go, like Salt Lake City,
Yeah.
you can go into a neighborhood that's not like incredibly safe, right? But
That's right. I mean, you just got to be, yeah, exactly. You just got to kind of use common sense. Like there's dangerous parts in the U.S. too. Just be commonsensical. But I love that you speak Spanish. That's really great. I just got back and I felt like I spoke enough to get by. It makes me inspired to learn it even more. So I'm going to try to like go get one of those AI tutoring programs to like teach me how to speak Spanish better. But and then just before we move on to the next topic, if you do this tour and you visit Texas, you better visit me as well too. So add me to your list.
well, I mean, I love Texas for a lot of reasons, but I mean, the barbecue scene's super awesome down by where you're at. So
Yep.
you better believe we'll be hanging out. We'll go
Yeah,
to
it's hecka good.
Terry Black's, and you can take me to the really good spots that are hard to
There we
get
go. There we go. I love it. Well, if you already know Terry Black's, then that's my favorite spot. So you're good there. Salt Lake's pretty good too. But I'll take you Korean barbecue. How about that? That'll be kind of
my
fun. For you.
my favorite. Yeah, seriously, I love it. Love it.
Really? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, let me get to my next question here because I'm gonna get sidetracked with all this stuff. Goals for the business. So, like, what are the major goals in the next 5 years? What's the big projects, and what does success look like for you as the CEO?
Yeah, we're making some of the changes now that I think will put us on a track where we could maybe even 10x the business in the next 3 to 5 years. So that's the big audacious goal, right?
Wow.
And by the way, like, who cares if we get there? Like, I want to, but if we 2x or 3x or 4x, I think we can really scale up what we're doing. Mm-hmm. So if you take a big step back, that's like the big, hairy, audacious goal, right? And the impossible goal. And then, but there are a lot of other things that kind of support that. So getting the right people in place. So retooling some of the organization as we've grown, making sure we've got people in place that can lead and develop the teams that we need to be able to get to that point. Because you can't just like X overnight without having, I don't want to 10X my team, even though I love having a team, but it needs to be able to scale way beyond that, right? So we're working on the tech. We're working on our AI integrations. We're working on all these things that I think can get us there from a revenue stance, and then making sure we have all the back end support so our clients continue to feel like they're our only client as we continue to scale. That's always been the vision. Sometimes I think we miss, but generally speaking, that's how we try to approach business.
I love that. I love that you called that out. I mean, nexting the team doesn't necessarily sound good either, right? You should be able to like build proper systems, whether it's software or not, you know what I mean? To actually like make it a little bit more efficient as you grow. So kudos to you. And I love that audacious goal. That's an incredible goal. Okay. So before I go to my rapid fire questions, I have one more question. Because you have adult kids and you started early, I'm curious because you're also a leader in your company. What are the corollaries, similarities, and differences that you employ from being a CEO at your company and being a dad at home?
That's a great question.
Do you do performance reviews on your kids?
Okay, so this does drive my Amy a little nuts, but I guess I do drag a lot of like structure into home. Right?
Yeah.
So and it starts with spreadsheets. All right.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
we're gonna plan a vacation or something. We're trying to coordinate something like budgets, whatever. I'll be like, all right, let me go grab it. And before I can finish the sentence, she'll say, "Not another spreadsheet." and my daughter's heard enough that she'll even be like, "Oh, not a spreadsheet." But then anyway, I've got funny little hobbies and habits. But like if I find something like a wholesale, like an auction site, and I'm like, that's actually sweet. I'll pick it up, and then I want my kids to help me like learn how to sell it. And so my daughter was working in a spreadsheet the other night. I bought this like huge container of like all these like seeds, like we have a garden, and I wanted to have some storage, like 10-year supply of seeds we could just plant if we ever needed to. But So she was building this all out into a spreadsheet, like itemizing all the seeds and like putting the quantities, and I'd already put the formulas in. So I was like,
That's awesome.
she's using a spreadsheet.
You got her.
Yeah, got her. Yeah. So, and when we ran the franchise business, there were times where we were doing things in a spreadsheet. My wife was like, "Freaking spreadsheets," but they made our lives a lot better. So
that's right.
But like organize, like trying to set goals. You know, I picked up some of this from my dad, but trying to set goals in like major categories of your life each year, and then I'll talk to him like, "Hey, how you doing on that? And how you doing on this aspect of your life?" Or if I see, just like you would in like a performance review with a direct report, but like, hey, like killing it here and here, awesome. I can see that, and with my kids, like, hey, social life.
Yeah.
It seems like you're not seeing your friends as much as you used to. How's that going? Like, what's behind that? And I don't know. So I guess there are aspects of both that kind of intertwine there.
Yeah.
I feel like they should. That's just good life, not just good business or good home or good dad.
I agree.
Good life skill.
You're validating all my thoughts and feelings and emotions and opinions. So I love everything you're saying. So yes, good for you.
All these dad insecurities. Like, should I be teaching my 8-year-old spreadsheets? Yes, because if she's going to use it when she's 28, then teach her when she's 8. You know?
Exactly. Yeah. It's not a bad skill to learn. It's very applicable in personal life as it is in work. You know, come on.
Yeah, even artists use spreadsheets, dude. Like, well,
seriously,
where are my brushes and how many pastels do I have? Like, what do you have, like a notebook with pencil on it? Come on, get a spreadsheet.
I love it, Dave. Let me switch gears to my rapid fire questions so I can make sure I keep you on time here. All right, so let me first question number one. One piece of advice that you have for other parents or soon to be parents.
Man, I'll use a sports one, but it applies to everything. And I wasn't the best at this, but your kids, whatever they're getting into, well, take a step back. Your kids need to get into stuff. Like our kids, we've always tried to make sure they're involved in something physical or something creative or some extra schooling or something so they can keep learning. But whatever they get into, like, it's important that they just know you love to watch them do it. And I say that as a sports dad. Like, my daughter's a figure skater. Our oldest son was a really competitive baseball player. And there were times where, like, my oldest son just needed to hear me say, as the coach, not, son, I saw you dipping your shoulder at the plate and blah. They just need to hear me say, hey, it was fun watching you play today. And so kids need to be validated that whatever they're doing, whatever the output, as long as they're trying, right? Like, they just need to know you care about them. And sometimes I struggle with that, but I just want to, like, give that advice is, like, don't forget. Most important thing for them to keep loving what they're doing and for you to enjoy watching what they're doing or participate in what they're doing, that they need to know it's important to you that they're enjoying it,
Love that. Yeah. I'm going to take that advice and implement it immediately. That's a great one. If you could go back and tell yourself one thing before having kids, what would you tell yourself?
Different. I'd probably tell myself that it's okay to screw up. Like, parenting, it's just like anything in life, right? Entrepreneurship, like the best entrepreneurs are the ones who have failed the most. I just say, like you're not going to get it right every time. Like, we lost the manuals to our kids at the hospital. I don't know if you still have yours, but like, we didn't know what we were freaking doing. And so, but you got to keep trying stuff, right? Try meaningful, thoughtful things. And number one rule is they have to know you love them.
Yeah.
Even if they grow up and their belief system's completely different than yours, like, they should leave the home knowing that you love them and you're in their corner no matter what. But just being willing to try things and then be disciplined. I find the structure is so helpful for younger kids, and if you're good with it and not in a Nazi, like, I'm going to force you to do everything sort of way, but like helping them build habits of structure. We've struggled with that sometimes, and we're coming back to it again, but like, I think that's a key to kids being successful. And a lot of parents are kind of free range and like hippie style, like, hey, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Hey, you're playing video games 12 hours a day, it's fine. Like, nope, give them structure, because when you're an adult, you need to learn how to discipline your day so you can get to work, and I feel like you got to teach them that when they're pretty young.
Yeah, that's really good advice. Do you have a favorite book or a podcast or a show that you would be able to recommend?
Oh, man, it's like, so I force myself to read business books so I can get smarter, and then I enjoy a lot of like fiction. So.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, so fiction's like my like let me just unwind my brain today. Yeah. So I would say couple books. One that's on the social intelligence. I really like Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and People. It's just an incredible book. But one that's a great like family relationship, business relationship that I'll read almost every year, and it's short, is it's by the Arbinger Institute. It's called Leadership and Self-Deception.
Cool.
That one's a really good, like, just relationship. It's designed as a business book, but frankly, like, every time I read it, I'm like, ooh, I'm doing that with my kids. I'm doing that with my wife. But then anything by Brandon Sanderson, like, I'm just a huge fan of his stuff on the fantasy, the He's
That's
a creative,
awesome.
excellent writer. So I just enjoy his stuff. So in the middle of one of his books right now.
That's great. I love that. I love that you're a closet nerd, or you're not a closet nerd. You're you're an open nerd.
I'm totally into the Cosmere.
I love it. Okay, and so when you're not building the next best CRM in the franchising industry and being a super dad, and then obviously a super husband in your empty nest life coming up here, what do you do for fun? What's your downtime activities?
So I actually think about businesses sometimes. Like I might. It's a hobby. My wife would laugh. Like she'd be like, "Yeah, when he's not working on a business, he's thinking about another business." But no, actually, I started blacksmithing.
What? That's
yeah.
amazing.
So yeah, here, like this is the first thing I ever made. I keep it on my desk because it's kind of crappy, but this is like a jambia, like a Pakistani style dagger. I made this out of a bolt, like it's like an old bolt. So,
That is so cool.
yeah, but
Where'd you get? Where do you did you build a shop in your garage, or like where do you go to do this?
yeah, so I did. So in the garage, we have like kind of like a funky half garage on the 2-car garage on the side.
Yeah.
So I just kind of commandeered the space. I've got a forge in there, a double burner, and then I've got drill presses and an anvil.
Yes, that's amazing.
It's fun, dude. It's super fun.
Heck yeah. I'm all about that. Yeah, I'm all about that.
So when you
That's a
come up
really
here
cool
to
hobby.
Utah to visit, like I've got a bunch of steel, so we'll grind it out on a Saturday and get you to make something together.
I would love that experience. That would be so fun for me too. I that's an amazing hobby. Good for you. It's like the best answer I've ever heard on this show. That's so cool. Oh, Dave, thank you so much for your time, man. I really appreciate you and your energy and your transparency and vulnerability. You have a really, really incredible story and just a really great perspective on life. And I've learned a ton from you on this show. I can't thank you enough for making the time.
Well, I appreciate it. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, we'll talk soon. I'll see you at the next conference.
Yeah, see you soon. Thanks.
Okay, see you soon.